There are all kinds of fun ways to cut shapes, borders, and edges, including shape cutters, dies, and punches. And each of these marvelous tools has a place in your stamp room. But when it comes to cutting out shapes that coordinate with individual stamp images, there's an extremely cost-effective and fun way to get the job done using electronic cutters. And although there's a bit of an investment when purchasing the machine, once you have it, the cut files cost less than a song for your MP3 player. I've done a bit of research on electronic cutting systems, and my absolute favorite is the Cameo by Silhouette. The advanced technology in the Silhouette creates some of the smoothest and most intricate cuts I've ever seen. And one cut file can be resized and reused over and over again, forever. Now I know a lot of you already have a Silhouette Cameo, and it's sitting in your stamp room right now, looking like this. Well, I'm here to tell you that it's way more fun once you take it out of the box. It's quick and it's easy to get started. For those of you who already have the Cameo, grab your machine, grab your computer and a cup of coffee, and get ready to cut. For those of you still on the fence, this video will show you why this electronic cutter is my favorite. And for those of you who don't have an electronic cutter and aren't ready to take that step yet, most of these projects can be done with scissors, dies, and punches. So I hope you enjoyed the paper crafting inspiration. Let's get started. The first step is to take the machine and the materials out of the box and get them set up on your table. This is exactly what comes inside the box. First, you have the Silhouette Cameo machine. You're going to get inside the box a cutting mat. This is the cutting mat. This is the power supply, and this will come in two pieces. You have the part that attaches into the Cameo, and then this goes from this part of the power supply into the wall. And I'll show you how to set that up in just a minute. You're going to get a plastic bag full of things, and let me show you what's in this bag. You're going to start with the safety precautions and your manual. You're going to get a USB cord, and this will go from the Cameo into either a desktop computer or your laptop computer, whatever computer you plan to use for the Cameo all the time. And then you're going to get an instructional video, and you're also going to get the Silhouette Studio software. You're going to get a $10 online gift card, and this gift card is good for purchasing cut files in the Silhouette online store. Now, you won't be able to redeem this for the Gina K Designs cut files because those are on our website. But when you log into the Silhouette online store and you see all of the beautiful designs that are only 99 cents each, it's going to be very easy to find $10 worth of designs that you're going to want to cut. Now, the mat, when you open up your cutting mat, you're going to notice that it has this protective piece of paper on it. It's very important not to throw this piece of paper away. This is the piece of paper that you're going to reapply to your mat after you're finished cutting, and that will keep dust and residue off of this mat, and it will protect the surface of the mat. And you won't accidentally stick a piece of paper or a card that you finished on top, because it will stick. And so you just want to keep that, and that's kind of like your little mat protector. Now there's one thing that you will need eventually, and it does not come with the Silhouette, but you can get it in our online store or at the Silhouette store. It's the Silhouette scraper, and this is used for a couple of different things. If you decide to cut vinyl art on your Silhouette, the vinyl wall art, and you want to apply that vinyl to your wall, the scraper will help smooth the vinyl down onto the surface of your wall. But the other thing that this is great for, and I use it just about every time I cut, is it will scrape any of the little tiny cuts that are left behind on your cutting mat that are just stuck onto the mat and very difficult to peel off. You just scrape over the mat and all those little pieces will just fly right off. So I would recommend picking one of these up as soon as you can. Now, when you get your Silhouette, you're going to notice that there's a lot of tape and things like that on it. This is to protect the machine from flopping around inside the box when it's being transported by the post office or UPS. So you want to make sure that you pull all of these off, because there's a lot of parts inside there that you're going to need to work with, and the machine won't work if all this tape is on there. And you've got to really look all around the machine to see where all the tape is. Now, it's not just on the outside of the machine, but it's also inside of the machine. There's some styrofoam that has to come out. So you want to make sure that you look all around inside the machine, make sure there's some tape in here that has to get peeled off. And so all of that tape needs to come out, and the styrofoam. And now your machine is going to be ready to set up. It's important to register your Silhouette Cameo. And the best way to register is to go online to Silhouette America's website. Click on your address bar and type in www.silhouetteamerica.com/register and hit enter. Now I'm going to register my Silhouette. So I'm going to type my name and my address. And my email address. And then I'm going to create a password. And this password is going to allow me to get into the Silhouette store whenever I want, using my information. Now, on the back of your Silhouette, if you're looking at the back of the machine, there's a sticker on the right that has the serial number just under the barcode. You're going to need to get that serial number off the back of the machine and type it in here. And then put in the date that you purchased your machine. And here's an option. You can either leave this button checked, or you can uncheck it if you don't want to do this, but it allows you to receive coupons and new product announcements from the Silhouette company. So I'm going to keep that in case they get something new and interesting that I want to look at. And you can go ahead and click on the register button, and that will register your machine. Now we can get into the store here by signing in with the email address and the password that you provided when you registered, and that way you can make product and digital design purchases in the future. The next step to setting up your Cameo is to load the Silhouette Studio software. So find the CD that's in your package and insert that into the CD-ROM. Now I'm going to be showing you the PC version of installation. If you have a Mac computer, you can follow the instructions in the manual. It's very, very simple on a Mac. Almost the same thing. You just drag and drop the Studio application icon into the applications folders to install the Silhouette Studio software. But for the PC, you're going to just put the disk into the disk drive, and then you're going to run the setup exe. After a few minutes, you'll see this Welcome to Silhouette Studio Setup screen. You're going to want to click on Next, Next, and Install. So now it's preparing to install the software, and this can take a few minutes. Now the software is installed, and you're going to click the Finish button to exit the setup wizard. Then there's a legal document that you'll want to read, and if you agree to the terms, click I agree. Now we've already registered the cutting tool, so you can click I've already registered. And if you decided to skip that registration process when we were doing it together earlier, you can do it now before you actually load the software. Now, one of the things you're going to notice is that the software is going to load fonts. It's loading all of the fonts that are on your computer right now. So the more fonts you have, it may take a couple extra minutes to load the software, but you're going to be able to cut any font that you already have on your computer just by using this program. The next step is to hook up the power supply for the silhouette. So what you're going to do is, this is going to come in two pieces. So you're going to have this wider cord, and then you're going to have this box with this thinner cord. Insert the two-prong end of the box and the two-prong end of the thicker cord together. And then when you look at your silhouette, you're going to see there are a couple of different holes. This hole is for your USB cord, and this hole is for your power supply. So you can put that in to the silhouette, and then you can plug this end into your outlet. Now once it's plugged in, you can turn the machine on, and then open this up. This box will have moved from over here to this side of the machine, and you're going to find another piece of foam underneath that needs to come out. There's also one other little piece of foam that was tucked in the back of the machine, so make sure you pull that one out. It's right back in here. I don't know if you can see. I'll kind of stick it through here, but it was kind of stuck like back in this area here. So you want to pull that out also. So now all of the foam is removed. For the next step, we're going to move our roller down to the 8.5 by 11 size. Since most of what we're going to be making with the silhouette is going to be cutting out 8.5 by 11 cardstock, we're going to need to adjust this roller. Now, if you use mostly 12 by 12 cardstock, then you can leave the roller where it is, or you can adjust it back and forth as you see fit. To do this, you're going to press this little lever down like that, and that's going to release this bar. And then you're going to want to turn it so that you get the little notches outside of the little grooves, because they lock into place in these little grooves. So you want to turn it so that these tiny little grooves here, the little plastic part comes out. And that's going to allow you to slide that over to this line here where there's two arrows, and when you look at your own silhouette, your own Cameo, you'll be able to see those two arrows. That's where you want to line this up, and once you get it into place, you turn it and lock it onto those little notches, and then you can put that little lever back up, and that secures everything in place. Next, we're going to put the blade inside the blade housing. And when you open the little bag, you'll find a blade, and then you'll find this little tool. Don't throw this tool away. You're going to need this tool. This tool is the tool that you use to set the blade depth. And it's very easy to use. You'll notice when you look at this particular tool, there's bevels that go down all around, but there's one spot where there's two shorter bevels. You place those two shorter bevels right over the spot where the red line is on the blade. And we are going to dial this blade up to 3. 3 is going to give us the proper depth for all of our layering weight cardstock. So now the blade is set to 3, and you're going to pull that out. And then you can see here there's a little line that comes down off of, let me show you against the white. You can see that little line that comes down off of the blade. That slips right into this little notch here. So you're going to slip that straight down and make sure that that's facing the same direction, and you're going to lock it into place. And that is how easy it is to put the silhouette blade in. So don't lose this little tool. This is something that I keep in the little baggie right in my desk drawer. And this way, whenever I need to change a blade or change a blade setting, you just grab that little tool and you're able to do that. Okay, so now I'm going to turn the machine off, and the next step is to show you how to hook it up to your computer. The next step is to hook your computer up to the Cameo, and then you're going to turn it on. And that's going to allow your computer to find this particular machine inside. It's going to say new hardware located. So you're going to start by taking the flat end of the USB cord and putting it into the USB port on your computer. And in my case, mine's on the side here. On a desktop computer, that might be either on the front of the computer tower or in the back. So you'll have to look around your computer to find it. And then this end is going to slip in to this hole right here. I'm going to put that in. And then your next step is to turn the machine on using the power button, which is this bottom button here on the right. Now on my computer screen, I have a little pop-up bubble at the bottom that said, installing device driver software, click here for status. You really don't have to click there. You can just wait, and when it's done, it will say device driver installed, and you'll be ready to use your machine. Now I'm going to open the Silhouette Studio software, and that icon on your desktop will look just like this. So I double-clicked on that. So here it's telling me that a new version of Silhouette Studio is available for download. So I'm going to go right to the download page, and I'm going to update the software. So here I have Windows, so I'm going to choose this one, and I'm going to click on Run. So that's just going to take about 2 minutes to load. Now you can see on the screen it's ready to upgrade to the newest version of the Silhouette Studio software. Now depending on when you buy your Silhouette, it may already have the latest version of the software in there, but I bought mine a little while ago, and anytime there is an upgraded version, it's recommended that you upgrade so you have all the latest and greatest tools and tricks. So I'm just going to continue to hit Next and Install, and this is going to install the latest version of the software. This is very similar to the installation that we did when we first opened the box and inserted the CD. So this will take just a few minutes, and just follow the prompts along the way until the installation is complete. I've upgraded the software, and now I'm going to open up the Silhouette Studio software once again. At this time, you can find your $10 download card and scratch that little silver bar off the back, because we're going to make our very first purchase in the Silhouette store. And the way you do that is click on File, and then click Purchase Online. Select your country, and now you can see there's all kinds of designs to buy. So we're going to sign in, and you remember we're going to use that sign-in information that you initially registered your Silhouette with. So now I'm signing in, and I want to use my gift card. So let me find a design. I'm going to search borders. I think I'd like to find a border design. So let's see what they have here. A lot of pretty little borders. I think I will try this one. The scalloped circle. Well, let me just see what else there is here. You can get lost on this website shopping for hours and hours just looking at all the cute, fun little designs. So how about if we try something like this one. So I'm going to add that. Oops, where did it go? Here it is. Okay, that's in my cart. Now let me go back up here and I'm going to go to my shopping cart and I'm going to check out. So I have a couple of different options here. I'm going to use a download card. And here's where you're going to want to put that code that's on the back of your download card. So I'm going to type my code in here that came with my machine. And I'm going to just double check it here. Okay. And then I'm going to apply the card. So now I have $10 in my account to spend. I'm going to go back to my shopping cart and I'm going to check out. It's going to ask me for my password again. And now I've downloaded these 3 borders. So now these borders are in this little folder right here that says Recent Downloads. And here you have a library of designs that comes with your machine. And you can cut any of these out as well. But I wanted to show you how easy it is to buy a design in the Silhouette store. So first we're going to cut out a border. Then I'm going to show you how to cut out one of the Gina K Designs cut files. Okay, now that we've purchased an image from the Studio store, we're going to open that image. Now, I'm clicking on File, and then I'm going to click on My Library and go to my recent downloads, and there is the image. So I'm going to double click on that image. If you don't see the image, you'll have to change one setting in the software that will allow you to see the images. Go to File, Preferences, Display, and then change the anti-aliasing off, and then hit OK, and then you'll be able to see the cut lines. So here are the 3 little borders that I'm going to cut, and now I'm going to show you how to load the cardstock. So here's my brand new cutting mat, and I'm going to take this protective sheet off, and remember you're going to keep this. Now you can see this is pretty clean, very, very clear and very clean. But it's also very, very, very sticky. And I actually don't like the mat to be this sticky. So what I would recommend is getting an old pillow, some kind of fabric or something, and putting the mat over the pillow or the fabric, maybe an old fleece blanket, and pulling up some of the fuzz that's on that blanket. You can put it on an old fuzzy shirt. I'll tell you, it took me 2 or 3 times of doing this until I really got it so it wasn't so sticky that the cardstock stuck to it too much. So I would recommend doing this quite a few times on some different fabrics and different things like that. Now I'm going to show you, this is my old cutting mat, and this is the one I use all the time. And you can see it's all gnarly and dirty, and it's got all kinds of little cut marks in it. I'm going to use that today because I'm just used to using this mat, and I've conditioned it so many times by rubbing it over fabric that it's hardly sticky at all, but it's sticky enough to hold the cardstock into place. Now, there is a ruler on this mat, and you want to put your cardstock right up against that top left-hand corner. And I'm going to show you how to look on the grid on the software next, after I show you how to load this into the machine. So, now I'm going to load the mat with the paper on it into the Cameo. I like to lift up the lid and look because I want to make sure that I get it right up against that notch. So when it's right up against that notch, I'm just going to close the lid again and I'm going to hit enter. And that loaded your mat into the Cameo. Okay, you can see the design is here. I just brought that in from my recently purchased designs. And this mat replicates the mat that is inside your Cameo right now. So what you want to do is click on View and then Show Grid. Now that grid is going to help you because this is a 12 by 12 mat, and right now you're extending over that 8.5 by 11 mark. So you want to move that onto the 8.5 by 11 area, and each one of these squares, these big squares, represents 1 inch. So you want to go up to 8.5 by 11. Now, something else I want to show you. I pre-cut this design right here the way it was in the software. You can see that's huge, and that would be a beautiful design for a scrapbook page, but it's going to be way too big for a card. So let me show you how to resize it. You resize it by clicking on the design, and then you're going to hold your right mouse button down and drag it by grabbing onto one of those corners and dragging it. So that's going to be a little bit better for card making, and I'm going to put that up a little bit higher on the mat. You can see why being able to see the grid is nice. If you have a piece of cardstock that's 4 inches by 4 inches, you can pop that little scrap of cardstock on there and make sure that you have a small design that just fits in that area, and you can cut on a small scrap piece rather than wasting a whole piece of cardstock. Let's make this just a little bit smaller. There we go. Now I'm going to cut this design by clicking on File and Send to Silhouette. Now you want to make sure that your speed and everything is set properly. Here the speed is set at 3. Let me click on Change Settings. I have it set for textured cardstock. Now if I wanted to go with pattern paper, that would have a different speed, a different thickness, and a different blade setting than what cardstock has. Now right now we have that blade set for 3. I'm going to click on textured cardstock because that's probably a nice heavy cardstock, and that is telling me to increase the blade to 5. So all I have to do is take the blade out and move the blade up to 5. And if you're like me and you cut mostly cardstock like I do, and mostly this weight of cardstock like I do, you can keep these settings exactly like this all the time. So all you have to do is reach in there, pull the blade out, grab the ratchet tool, and put the ratchet tool back onto the blade, and then you're going to want to move that up to 5. Okay, now that's set at 5. I'm going to replace the blade and tighten that. Let's make sure that's straight there. It's all tight. And now I'm going to cut. So all my settings are right, and here I'm going to hit cut, and it will send the design to the silhouette, and it will cut it out smaller than this one onto my cardstock. Now the Cameo has stopped, and on my screen it says unload, and the way to unload the mat is just to hit the enter button and the mat will come out. Now I want you to take a look at this up close, because you won't believe how beautiful this cut is. You know I made it smaller, and look at this. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that cut. See the way that peels right off the mat? Now, a brand new mat, it won't peel off quite so easily, so that's why I'm using my old conditioned mat. So you may want to really condition your mats before you use them. And look at the beautiful different designs you have here, these beautiful borders. Aren't they gorgeous? They are as clean as dies. And you can see how big the original one was here, and it didn't lose any quality by shrinking it down. And this is why you'll need that scraping tool, because these are the little things that you can pick off one at a time, like that, and it'll take a little bit of time. But if you have the scraping tool, you can just scrape them right off the mat like that. And you may even have something in your kitchen that you can use to scrape the mat, so you might not need the full-blown scraping tool, but it is a very nice tool, and that plastic edge really does keep the mat nice and safe. So if you are going to use some sort of kitchen tool, try to find something plastic that you can use that won't cut the mat or damage the mat in any way. I would recommend this. This is a very inexpensive little tool, and it works wonders. And we have a few in stock, but if we don't have them in stock, you can grab them at the Silhouette store. And now your mat is all clean and ready to be used for the next project. So the next thing I'm going to show you to do is how to cut a Gina K Designs silhouette file. So let's do it. Now I'm going to show you how to cut a Gina K Designs silhouette file. So let me minimize this software here, and we're going to go to Stamp TV. Now we have a little surprise for you at Stamp TV from now until the end of July, and this video was made in July of 2012. You can go on the freebies page and you can download a free studio file for the Hello Sunshine Stamp TV kit. So let me show you how this works. You're going to click on this file and it's going to ask you where you want to save it. I'm going to save as, I'm going to put this right onto my desktop so I can find it easily. But what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to set up a file folder on your computer for silhouette files, and you can just store them all in one folder so they'll be easy to find. Alright, so let me log out of Stamp TV here. Now here is the Hello Sunshine. You see the little studio thing right there? So I'm going to click on that. Oh, and I have a version open. So let me pull that back up. There it is. Okay, so I'll show you how to do that again. Let me close out of there. Okay. So, to find that the normal way, you'll click on File, and you'll click on Open. And then I'm going to go to my desktop because that's where I saved mine. There's all the little images for the Hello Sunshine Stamp TV kit. And this is already set up and positioned for an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock, so you don't have to worry about moving anything around or resizing it. Once you cut these, they will fit your Hello Sunshine Stamp TV kit stamps perfectly. So we're going to cut this now by clicking on File and Send to Silhouette, and that's going to cut it out. And I'll show you the cuts in just a second. Now the Cameo's done cutting the Hello Sunshine Stamp TV kit images, and I'm just going to peel off one of them to show it to you. Here is the little chair and umbrella. And I happen to have that stamp here, and I'm just going to show you how nicely that will stamp right on there. Ink pad's just a little bit dry. Alright, so you can line that right up. Stamp it on there, and you've got a perfect little cut file. Looks just like a die cut with a nice little border around the image. Let me show you a little card I made with this whole collection of dies. There's a cute little "You're Always on My Mind" card, and you can see all the little images cut out and stamped, and then I just pop them up with 1/4-inch pop dots so you can see they're a little bit raised up to add even more dimension to that fun little card. And of course, if you already have the Stamp TV kit and you don't have a silhouette, you can still make a card just like this, but you'll have to cut the images out by hand. One more thing I want to show you here on the screen. You can see that all of the images come up when you load the Hello Sunshine file. But the way we have our images set up, each image can be removed from the mat, and it won't remove it from your permanent file unless you save the file again, so don't do that. But you can just delete all of these images, just stamp the images you want. So for example, if I wanted to make the card that I just showed you, I can get rid of all of these images. I don't need the tall flowers. I'm just clicking on it and hitting the delete button. Click and hit the delete button. And again, as long as you don't save it, next time you reload the file, they'll all be back exactly the way they were before. Now I'm going to left click on my mouse and just move the designs up here to the top. Now I can use a small little scrap of white cardstock, and I can cut the two clouds, I can cut the chair, I can cut the flip-flops, and I can cut the sun, and I don't have to cut the entire design. Now you may want to take a day and cut a whole bunch of entire sheets and store those little electronic cuts in a little envelope, so you have them whenever you want to make a card. You can just pull out a blank and you can stamp on it and you can make a card. Or you can just cut exactly what you need when you need it using your scrap box, so you don't have to waste full sheets of cardstock and you don't have to cut anything that you don't want to. I hope you've enjoyed this video presentation and that you've had as much fun as I've had getting to know the Silhouette Cameo. Look for Gina K Designs coordinating cut files in our online store, which the illustrators and I will be updating often. And stay tuned to Stamp TV for future videos featuring the Cameo.